am coming at you live this week from a sign right there that says Heredia. I had to skydive back into the jungles of Costa Rica. Had to get bolted back together, another little surgery. So I had to swim across the Atlantic. And what I want to do in this week's video is showcase one of the cooler little markets that this town Heredia has to offer. It's called Mercado Central, the Central Market. And it's what originated nearly 100 years ago in this small little beautiful town on the mountainside of San Jose, Costa Rica. We've done enough Wall Street, Main Street retail labels the last few weeks, and I wanted to showcase something a little more old school. Follow along this week's video, Retail Nomad at Heredia, Costa Rica.
The Retail Nomad, traveling the globe, sharing what the retail environment is like, hidden corners of the world.
And there you see on the building, it says Municipalidad de Heredia. Heredia is the town, and it's the municipality of Heredia. And this is called the Central Market, or Mercado Central, and everything was built around this in the entire community. And here I just wanted to show you another flavor on another corner of the Mercado Central. What the exterior looks like, and how a lot of the community still walks to the market, right? They carry bags and their goods and their products with them, and it's a society thing. You go and you know your neighbors, you know the vendor supplier, where you get your meat, your chicken, your eggs, your poultry, and so forth. But let's dance through here, and here you see an actual fish market, miniature version. And just think, you get fish from both the Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean Ocean, as both of them are just a few hours, either direction from San Jose. Pretty darn cool, eh? Yeah. And then you see, you've got what a sign here says Tramo el buen gusto, which means stretch the good taste. And then right here, it's Colgate. So I thought that was very interesting marketing, if you will, tying in a local Spanish phrase with commercial brand that we're all familiar with, obviously, right? And once you step foot inside the market, there's all these small little vendors, shops, and boutiques, and so forth. You see here, I jumped inside of a sporting goods shop and vendor, and they've got bags, jerseys, balls, and so forth. And then it just jumps right out on the other side, and here's a little t-shirt, sweatshirt shop, if you will. And they've got ones that are already pre-printed, Spider-Man and some cartoon dudes on it and so forth. And then other ones that you could critique yourself, or maybe put your own company brand or logo on. And here you see it says Centro de Carnes, which means like the meat center for everything from your pork, your beef, your sausage, and so forth. Just think back to Sam the Butcher in that 1970s TV show, The Brady Bunch, where literally most of these consumers know the butcher. They know the vegetable dude here, right? This is coming from, either nearby on a farm. Obviously, the bananas would be coming from the Caribbean coast in Costa Rica. Most of them don't grow on the Pacific side. But they know the supplier. They know where this comes from, and they have their favorites. Carniceria La Fama. It's, I'm assuming, short for the family meat store. Fama is short for familia. So it's funny how they blend the wording with the descriptions. And as we just dance down through here, just take note. You got veggie stands, you got chicken, you got beef, you've got every kind of category of food that you could truly think of. Cheeses and milks and straight from typically folks that you may know that, these locals have been coming here for years. So who's supplying your eggs and, your chicken or your fish or the veggies you see here. It's probably coming within a 1 hour radius of this, Heredia central location here. And this guy here, he's like got everything. And I love Lizano. If you've never tried it, it is now available in the United States. Lizano. It's one of the most popular salsas that we use on everything, from eggs to rice bean. You can put it on your chicken. You can put it on steak. It's I think A1 steak sauce, meats. I don't even know. Something groovy, delish. But You see these little bags up top? These are spices. So they are probably locally grown, and they obviously they package them themselves and sell them in little bags. So I just love the layout, look, feel. You see here, Pescaderia, which is a fish market store. Mariscos, seafood, and pollo. I know some people aren't down with this, but I actually enjoy the fact of how local it is, literally with dogs or cats bouncing through here. Here you got BioVital or Macrobiotica, which is in essence a healthy vitamin store. So just think, apple cider vinegar, honey, herbs, and so forth. The locals would shop here more so than a pharmacy. They would go to the pharmacy if they had surgery and needed antibiotics. Other than that, locals would shop at a Macrobiotico. And again, just everything from the cheeses, the sausages, the leches, milk, and so forth. And I loved, if you look up top, these bags hanging down are different kinds of bread and so forth. Natilla, sour cream, queso is cheese. But they get the bread up top, little cross merchandising here, if you will. Pretty intelligent how they dial that in to get a cross sell or additional cash out of the consumer. Little bread with your queso, little bread and cheese, something like that. And take note on this little stall here, if you will. This is a full servicing restaurant, and we call these sodas. Just like what we would drink up in North America, a soda is a smaller restaurant, but it offers a local dish primarily for lunch called a casado, which is rice, bean, and then a small portion of protein, chicken, fish, pork. For breakfast here in Costa Rica, we have what's called gallo pinto, which is rice, bean, eggs, platanos, plantain. Delicious. It's my favorite. I love the breakfast here in Costa Rica. But you can just see there's many of these little sodas positioned throughout. People come and they, breakfast, lunch, and they do close, I think, at around 6 p.m., so I don't know how much dinner. But a coffee. Coffee is massive here in Costa Rica, if you've been here. And Heredia is originated with a well-known for coffee fields and mountainsides. So just to give you an idea, Starbucks recently, a few years back, purchased a huge farm and finca here in Heredia, probably within less than half an hour of this market here. And another local brand that you may not have heard of. If you've been to Costa Rica, you possibly have walked past them in the airports. They have multiple stores in each airport. It's called Cafe Brit. Any of the folks that have been to our mob event or any of the events I've attended, I typically bring a grip of these Cafe Brit products up to the States, as they are absolutely delicious. But again, just looking at the category mixtures and so forth, everything exotic fruits and guanabanas and things that we would not necessarily find up in the United States. Some of these you may have seen before, some you may not have. But mamoncino and pejibaje, and here I jumped over to another macrobiotico, picked up some of the local supplements and so forth. I just came through another surgery, so I was trying to boost up my immune system. Grab some echinacea, turmeric, colloidal silver, and so forth. But again, this market truly is a community hub that brings people together, locals, neighbors, and so forth. And once again, just strolling through the market here, you get to see the vibe, the feel, the energy, the locals. It's truly a mixed demographic. Here you got a pregnant lady chatting with her friend. That it's everything from white collar educated doctors and attorneys that I'm sure visit here, to the local farmer, and everything in between. There's really, I wouldn't say a separation of the demographic itself, but I love the old school feel, the old counters, the butcher counter, and so forth. This colonial vibe, this market originated in the late 1800s, over 100 years ago. The certain portions of this building, I think, were finished in 1929. And here I found a store location more for the female shopper. Earrings, handbags, purses, backpacks. Think Claire's meets, I don't even know, Walmart, if you will. But hair bands and so forth. And then again, just strolling back out to the main thoroughfare here, a combination of every stall and vendor. And here you see some of the perfumes and bags that they offer inside there. But just again, the spaces. Here's an actual sit-down restaurant, more official than a soda maybe. But the various mix of vendors and suppliers and so forth. A couple of the security officers, but I gotta say, I didn't feel any element of safety or concern in this market. Some of the others around the world, I wouldn't say I have, but overall, this one is very well kept, even the cleanliness and so forth. But kudos to the entire Mercado Central team, which is run by the local municipality here in Heredia. They've done a great job. Beautiful facility. And here you see some of the doors and overhead systems closed as it's getting close to closing time. But I just rolling through here and you see this big stack of banana paper, which they literally cut from a tree, fold it up, and then they make the tamales out of it. So I'm just intrigued. I bounce around here and kind of watch how they make some of these goods, and I love tamales. Who doesn't, right? But checking out some of these old photos. Some of these go back, in the early 1900s. What I learned by looking at some of this old historical prints is that there was an earthquake. What I learned, it originally dilapidated the original structure here that was constructed in the late 1800s, and the building I'm standing in then was constructed and finished in 1929. But I love some of the historical, figures, facts. There's a 1970s photo with buses on it up top and so forth, but just the old school vehicles and delivery of some of the merchandise and the goods that came in here. It was really cool how that vendor, really promoted the heritage, that's here at the Mercado. And again, as I'm just rolling through here, you get to see how some of these areas are secured and, as they close up shop. And here, I thought it was really cool. I'm not Catholic, but I think over 90-some% of the country is. Obviously, they pay their tribute and respect to their religion locally here. You see desayuno, that is the word for breakfast. And again, things are starting to get darken up in here a little bit. Casado, I mentioned that earlier. That's the lunch plate that we call. But again, this is truly a maze-like layout. It's I won't say a labyrinth, but there's a mix of household goods. You see pura vida. You probably hear me say that in some of my videos, but translates ultimately to pure life. But it's hello, goodbye, how are you? All's good, thanks much. We use it every day, hundreds of times. It's a staple phrase here in Costa Rica that's well known. But I kind of found here is the general merchandise aisle that every type of household good that you could think of, and then rolling down to another few of the small little sodas that just offers delicious food. And there you see Liberty on the right-hand side, and that's one of the local cell phone providers that you can either purchase your chip or make your prepayment or monthly payment. But in preparing to close out this week's video, I want to tiptoe outside just to show you the light of day and the beautiful blue skies here in Heredia. But again, you got some of the main retail chains across the street. Goya is one of the larger ones in the country. Everything from electronics type of products, household washers, refrigerators, and then Pali, which is part of the Walmart brand over there on the green. This here's the ferreteria and the locksmith. Notice the color code. Color scheme is similar to Maquita. It says total, means everything. That's right. I'm going to jump in here and just show you what a hardware store looks like in Costa Rica. Pots and pans, screws and bolts, and helmets. Buenas. Sí, solo mirando. Sí, sí. Thanks much for tagging along here in this week's video. You see right there back behind me, it says Mercado Central, 1929. Nearly 100 years, this huge, massive market in downtown Heredia. It's truly the epicenter of this community. Just pan around, you see public transportation. Most of these locals, not most, a lot of them don't have a car. So they come to the market a couple times a week. They walk, they drive, they bring their motorcycle, their bicycle. You see right there, you got the green building. That's Pali. That's part of Walmart. Yeah, they're trying to get this business from the foot traffic here at Mercado Central. Hopefully you've enjoyed looking at some of the historical vendors, the products, and how they sell and merchandise their goods. Retail Nomad at Heredia Central, San Jose, Costa Rica. Pura vida, my.
Stay tuned to the Retail Nomad, as each week we'll be profiling different types of shopping experiences around the world. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Ciao.